YouTubers, once again, it's K2 to go for Vernon Speak Sports, mostly talking about Auburn football and the rest of the SEC. Want to give a shout out to my fearless and true gang, War Eagle. In 2019, we're headed into spring football practice for the Auburn Tigers. March 18th is the starting date. One of the hottest topics is who's going to be the starting quarterback. Now, all indications, say that it's probably going to be out of Bo Nix, Malik Willis, and Joey Gatewood. Now, it just appears that Cord Sandberg has all but been counted out of this race. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Cord Sandberg. Now, Cord Sandberg, back in the recruiting class of 2013, was recruited by Dan Mullen at Mississippi State. He actually signed a letter of intent to go there. He was also, strangely enough, when I looked at the list, he was also recruited by Auburn and Clemson and Arizona, to name a few. Now, he did decide to go to play baseball. He was selected in the third round, and he spent most of his time as a minor league baseball player. But he decided to come back to football because it was something that he always dreamed of doing. And in looking at him on film, when you look at these little highlights that I got going on down here, you can see why, and you almost question, like, why didn't you just play football? You know, as a senior at Manatee High School in Bradenton, Florida, he had well over 2,000 yards. Running. He had over 35 touchdowns, and he only had one interception, guys. I mean, so that shows that he's able to protect the football. Also, he's a very, very legitimate dual-threat quarterback, as he had 611 yards to accompany the 2,000-plus yards that he had running the football. One thing that I do like as we look at this race that's going to be going on, that's probably one of the hottest topics at Auburn right now, is the quarterback race. As a matter of fact, ESPN ranked the quarterback situation. I guess that, they find crazy ways to rank everything for our entertainment. They considered Auburn as having the #2 most interesting offseason quarterback situations. And rightfully so, because one, Auburn has a brand new offensive coordinator in KENNY Dillingham. #2, they have 4 quarterbacks who have not had either any or very minimal quarterback experience on the SEC level. 3, if Auburn was playing against, say, Kent State, Tulane, or a team to where there's not a lot of pressure, a game that they, pretty much should win, they could be a little creative and not have to be so urgent as to who the quarterback is. They would have a little time to kind of have some in-game experience to kind of think about this thing. Then it would be a lot easier. But considering Auburn starts this season off against Oregon, the urgency to make the right decision going into that high-consequence game becomes more apparent for the Auburn Tigers. And KENNY Dillingham and Gus Malzahn really have their work cut out for them over the spring football and summer practice. The good news is that all the quarterbacks who are going to be in contention are on campus right now and will be able to participate in spring football as well as summer training as well. Now, what do we like about Cord Sandberg? Now, when I look at Cord Sandberg on film, I see a lot of smoothness. I see a lot of very, very active but deliberate leg work. He has very good vision. He looks down the football field. He's a very vertical football player. Another thing that I like about him is that you can tell based on his presence that he is the leader on the football field. The offense is run by him, and he wants to make the key plays. Another thing that I liked is he's a very underrated passer. He can make most of the throws. I'm not going to say that Cord Sandberg will start for the Auburn Tigers. I think that's, probably a little far-fetched. But what he does bring is that much-needed quality depth that Auburn needs at the quarterback position, something that they didn't have in 2015 and in 2016. And I'll go out on a limb, they didn't have as much of it in 2017 because let's just say if Jarrett Stidham would have gotten hurt, you would have had to rely solely on a very inexperienced Malik Willis. And who knows how that deal would have turned out. But we know how it turned out back in 2015 and 2016 when Jeremy Johnson didn't quite pan out. Shaun White comes in, but Shaun White gets hurt right before a key game against Georgia, to where, John Franklin probably should have started the game, but the team just didn't have the trust factor in John Franklin, so Shaun White played hurt, and we know how that turned out. So when we look at Cord Sandberg and what he could potentially bring to the table, he's a very good athlete. I think he would be a starter if none of the other guys were up for debate. So look out for Cord Sandberg, not necessarily as a starter, but to add quality to the depth at quarterback for Auburn, something that I've never seen. I've never seen Auburn have this much talent collectively at the quarterback position. 3-star Malik Willis, 4-star Cord Sandberg, and Joey Gatewood, and of course